All right. So, welcome to the Wardroom, guys. I'm Captain Parrish, Chief of Staff for the United States Caribbean Squadron. Today we're sitting down with a couple members of the Commodore staff to talk about something, mostly building the fleet before the game exists. You're here with Commodore Wolf and Vice Commodore Snake. We'll talk about structure, leadership, challenges, and we're actually preparing for... Gentlemen, welcome. We'll start with some introductions. We'll go with Wolf.
Hello everybody, I'm Commodore Wolf. I am the head of the United States Caribbean Squadron, and I'm the one who started this whole situation.
Hello guys, my name is Snake. Mr. Snake, I go by in Discord. I am the Vice Commodore for the United States Caribbean Squadron. I originally started off as the Chief of Staff, and have later climbed the ranks, so here we are.
Alright, so we're the top three of the USCS here, and we'll start off this first episode with just us and later invite other people as it seems necessary.
Despite our best wishes.
Right. So, I guess one of the biggest questions we'll all have here, with Ahoy not even being released, is like, why? Why did we set up now? Why build the structure we have instead of waiting for the game to release? Wolf can definitely elaborate on this, as he's the one who created this nearly a year ago. So go ahead.
Oh, don't remind me. Yeah, so back in, I think it was June or July. Yeah, it was June. That was when the Ahoy team had released their Kickstarter. I was talking in the general United States chat about, hey, I'm thinking about making a squadron, and I was reached out by two other members of the Ahoy server, just saying like, hey, we think it'd be a good idea to just start a squadron together. So it took a week to build a squadron or set up the server. And right afterwards, we started posting big time, started getting our word out there. A tradition we've continued is just getting people talking in the tavern. And it was really meant to be like a center of space just to grow a community first before the game released, since, as we said, there's no game currently. But the community itself has been really welcoming, not just from the inside, from the outside as well. I know there are other groups that have also formed during this time, have been very open with us, and we're even trying to set up a few, I would say, like a hold-fast games against each other, so hopefully working towards that in the future.
Yeah, and so...
Yeah.
Hold on, Snake, hold on. We'll just have Wolf go for one more thing. Like, what was his overall vision for USCS as a whole, aside from the community aspect? Like, let's talk about that.
So when I first heard about when we first heard about Ahoy, I was excited because I was starting to get out of a naval action phase, because I love learning about history, just going back and forth between different periods of time. And learning about that, I saw Ahoy, started getting into it, and that was right before they launched their Kickstarter. But when I first imagined Ahoy, I imagined kind of like naval action, but first person, which they're not entirely going after. You can see their announcement trailer for more information about that. The idea was mainly like a fleet to work together for the United States, since I saw there was a lot of people wanting to be part of the United States in this time period, because it was during the Revolutionary War, but there was no real organization. And I thought, hey, a fleet concept would be kind of cool, and in game it'd be kind of fun to just have like one big ship surrounded by a bunch of smaller ships that I'm in charge of, which I slowly start to regret every time drama comes up, but here we are, we're still going strong. But yeah, the big thing was just a United States fleet inside the game.
Awesome. Snake, you had something you were gonna say?
Yeah, I was gonna kind of add on a little bit as to, since he started the group, and I joined about 3 months after the group started. Similar to Wolf, I had seen the Ahoy trailer on YouTube, and I got hooked instantly. Growing up, going to a maritime academy, living in New England my entire life, living near the water, loving the ocean, I knew that was the game for me. And I am American, obviously. I looked for an American group. And I don't think Wolf mentioned this, but even at the time, and still now, as of this recording, USCS is the largest American faction there is thus far. There's independents that claim American ties, there's other American groups, but somehow we were thrusted front and center for the American nation. We don't claim to want to represent, America as a group within Ahoy. Obviously, the game's not even out yet, but I just thought it was really cool to be part of this community when I first joined. First as a moderator, then as chief of staff, and then turning into vice commodore. Watching our group grow and the vision come to fruition in terms of just overhauling all of our stuff, getting our foundations built for when we move forward into the game. With Arena being the first and Open World being a hopeful, we have and are still working on all of the groundwork required, ranking systems, ship rosters, communicating with groups, being able to, understand what this is going to take if this game blows up like we hope it does. But that's really all I had to say on the vision and what I can see not being the one that started the group.
There's one more thing I'd like to add to that as well, if you don't mind, Parrish.
Yeah, go ahead.
With the way things were looking at the time, it was also seeming to be a large, British faction, which, as we said before, it's set in the time of the American Revolution, and there was no organization for the American groups, or American, so in this server, you can select, what your nationality is going to be. So the American group was, 300 strong, I think, at the time, and there was just no organization, while the British were already having, pre-existing clans from naval action come into Ahoy. So there was no way to combat them, because we know we're going to probably start out immediately at war with the British, trying to fight for our independence. So knowing this, we have to work on working with the French, working with the Spanish, dealing with pirates, working with the Dutch as well. Can't forget about the Dutch. They're actually really interesting to see the Dutch in a naval game like this.
Yeah, people always forget about the Dutch during that time period, and how people forget how they ruled the waters very aggressively, and they were very prevalent back then as compared as they are now.
That's a big thing about Ahoy, is bringing about the history aspect of this time period, and then it's another giant group that can get together and just talk about history. I know in USCS we talked a lot about American history before. In the tavern for Ahoy, we've talked a lot about our history just in general. Just today we're talking about the boat races or something on the East Coast of the United States. Can't remember the exact name of it.
Wait, talking about in the Ahoy Discord, basically?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so Wolf's vision's awesome, right? The creation of the United States Caribbean Squadron, right? And Snake also being a very prevalent member here. That's what we're talking about. We just have this great vision for a squadron to represent the United States in its own way, not entirely, but instead of reacting when the game comes out, our goal is to have something ready before, and that's what we've accomplished over this last year. Do you guys agree?
I'd say we accomplished that greatly with the amount of events we've held. A lot of people have been getting together. A lot of people have gotten together during events. Sorry, Snake, I just feel like he's in the chat.
Oh no.
But,
chat.
Anyway, we've started doing now weekly events. They alternate between hold fast events and then a voted on event by the community, which have been fairly successful. We have another one coming up this Saturday. There are Saturdays at the same time every week. There's been fluctuations between the people coming, but usually we get a decent amount of 10 or so people. It's pretty fun just getting the community together. And like you said, Parrish, when I first made this place, I was not intending it to become this large so quickly, but since it did, I just was like, wow, what am I going to do? So next step was just making it into a community first, and then a gaming group for specifically Ahoy second.
Absolutely. And I think community first is probably one of the better starting points to go for. So with all that, let's talk about something that I guess, makes us different, right? What actually makes USCS different from the average group forming around Ahoy? What would you say, Wolf?
Too many headaches for me. That's what I would say. The biggest thing that keeps us separate from the others is probably... Well, I need to think about these more. You're good at asking questions. Probably just our engagement with the community. I know sometimes we ask, hey, members of USCS, can you guys go into the Ahoy Tavern and just start talking a little bit, and add some more activity into it, especially with how close we are getting to Sea Trials release. There is just a large contingent of USCS people that just get in there on their own as well. People know our name very, very well. Since we can say anything in the tavern, and if somebody asks, hey, what does USCS mean? Almost anybody from any other clan will immediately answer United States Caribbean Squadron. We have a very prevalent name, and we've been mentioned a few times by the devs, not in official capacity, just unofficial in the server, and with some people posting videos about Ahoy. We've just been out and about in the community, just showing our faces around, and just really cemented ourselves with the Ahoy community as a whole.
Yeah, right. Like active engagement. I know Snake. You'll get into that here in a little bit, as far as our community and then the Ahoy community and how all our engagement ties into that. So like a long-term goal for the squadron, right? Obviously, have a decent group of people to get on when the game launches, preferably around Sea Trials, to get some sort of structure going, right? Because we do have a structure. I think we'll talk about that next. Aside from that, we have a ranking system, obviously, because we're modeled after a naval organization or squadron. It's pretty simple rank structure from midshipman on the naval side all the way up to Commodore. So you guys could, I don't know if you want to expand on that or not, but it's pretty simple rank structure.
I do want to add one small thing. It is not exactly historical, and it's not exactly accurate to modern day times. We have changed it slightly to fit our needs as a gaming community. And another thing is we are not an official part of like the United States Navy. We are solely an independent group just trying to share history, make a good community to play games with.
Good disclaimer there.
Yeah. When I started looking at trying to set up the YouTube, it popped up with a bunch of different things for like the U.S. Navy. I'm like, no, we should probably not be associating ourselves with the official Navy.
Yep.
No, definitely not. Also with the rank structure, we do have Marines, right? As one of our guys who's watching this, Mr. Henry, the Vice Commandant, or Assistant Commandant, sorry. So we have Marines. Again, rank structure is not completely aligned with the one that is like real life, right? And since Ahoy is based around only having officer positions, we don't have any enlisted, non-commissioned officers, all straight commissioned officers. So there's that for that. I think one of the next things we can talk about is our fleet organization, unless you guys have anything else to add.
I like to add something. Ranking, every group is going to have their different rank structure and their different promotion, scheduled promotion. I was reading yesterday, one of the British groups has a test required for all their members to be able to promote. And, for any of our people in our group who might hear this podcast and aren't exactly active, we understand game's not out yet. People are kind of sitting on their hands, waiting patiently. And that's perfectly fine. But we wanted to kind of spread some light on what ranks mean in the USCS, how to rank up, what you need to do, what you need to avoid. And first and foremost, before the game's even out, activity. Activity is big for us. Showing our community is prevalent, going back to what makes us different. Having a community presence, USCS standing up, helping people who have questions, even if they're not looking to join the United States. Just say, hey, look, you have a question, this is what I know. Being active, helping in the community, showing up to events, being active in the Ahoy server, our server. Those are your fast-track ticket items to climb the ranks. And this may change, when the game drops, Arena comes out, activity might take a back burner over prestige and ability, But what this is going to do for our members now is this is going to show them their veterancy. I got to this rank that might be harder to attain when the game comes out because I was active in the community before the game dropped. You know, being able to have that title of major or colonel for the Marines, saying, how'd you get to that high level? I've been in the group for weeks, months. Well, I was active. I was here before all of you guys. I saw the vision and I kept going with it, you know? So that's something that we strive for, and that's what makes us different, is we want to help the community, be part of the community, and promote our members accordingly for doing such things, because that's our vision.
Well said. Yeah,
that's all I have.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, again, activity. Granted, the game's not out, right? But again, here we are saying we're going to build this community beforehand. Whether or not you're active in it plays a big role in where you stand when it launches. So that's part of that structure we made. Anything else, guys? Otherwise, we'll move on to the structure.
Yeah.
I think Snake hit that way too well.
He did. He did. So the fleet, right? The invisible fleet that's not here yet.
Yeah, OPSEC, do not.
Within OPSEC.
Well then,
I don't
do tell.
I don't mind taking this one. So yes, we have a fleet. I can't go into much detail about what our fleet entails because this will be a public podcast. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be having our captains based off of rank, prestige, appointment. Everybody's able to do whatever they want. We're not going to restrict people. You know, if you bring a group of friends and you want to be with your group of friends on a ship, we can accommodate that. You know, that's understandable. We want to keep things realistic and keep things manageable. I already know one big issue we're going to have is having 7 people in a Discord call yelling over each other because we're being shot at. That's something that every group is going to have to deal with. You know, Discord bitrate is not going to be a fun thing to deal with. Trying to understand everybody yelling over everybody else. I think that there's going to be a lot of growing pains as well. There's going to be a lot of things we're going to have to iron out. People are going to have to be moved around if you know, so needed. That's really all I have, without going too much into OPSEC.
I was going to go add one small bit to that with the captain appointments. With there being need to be activity and dedication to the group, there should also be a third part of when we pick who becomes a captain in our group, or a colonel, depending on whatever branch you choose. We do look at, like, okay, do we think this person's going to do well in a leadership position? Because once you're at sea, we're expecting it, okay, captain just has final say, the rest, the rank structure is just up to the captain, we don't really care. It doesn't matter if you got 2 captains on the ship, like, rank-wise, so there's only one person that's the role of captain. It's just, once you're, like, at the sea, that's all up to the captain role, the role of the captain. But when you're appointed as a captain, we're looking at your leadership ability, and if you're going to be good pick to, like, help us with the eventual management of the squadron, because as a captain, you're going to be expected to be assisting around a lot more compared to being just a second lieutenant or first lieutenant.
Right, because there's going to be different roles, like an executive officer, right? Maybe that other captain will fall in that role, just to assist the main captain.
Yeah.
And one thing I like to add on top of that, your rank in the Discord does not always correlate to the rank on the ship. For example, I do not have my own vessel. This may change. I might want to captain a ship, but as a vice commodore, how could you explain taking command of someone or taking orders from someone of a lower rank? That just is up to you and what you want to do. Just because you're a high-ranking member in our group does not mean you have to captain a ship if that's not what you want to do. So you have options. You can either captain a ship because your rank says you're allowed to, and we've given you that permission and that appointment, or you could just, fire a cannon at the enemy.
That's another thing. Sorry, do you have more?
Yeah, that was all I had, Wolf.
Okay, I was gonna say is that we're kind of like limiting where if it's a ship like of 8 guns and below, that's kind of just like a free fall. Like if you want to just hop on with a couple of your buddies, just do whatever you want. Yeah, cool. It's not really associated that much with USCS, but we have an organization of the ships with larger complement of weaponry. They're going to be actually managed and like, okay, we're expecting you to fill this role for events and whatnot. Yep. There's still options to like get out to sea as your own captain with just random people if you want, because we're not here to tell you what you can and cannot do. But for events and stuff like that, do plan on having a strict structure of you're going to be doing this, you're going to be doing this, you all are falling underneath the command of this person.
As it should be.
This is correct.
All this is loosely based though on the open world, right? That we're all dreaming of coming out eventually.
Hopefully.
Let's dial it back. Sea Trials. Eventually, that's going to come out here in July, right? I believe.
Yes, I believe that's still correct.
What are your guys' expectations for Sea Trials? I guess we can start talking about that.
Answer the question of why can't I access Sea Trials to everybody who didn't get a key. That's going to be a pain, because for those who are unaware, I'm one of the more prominent faces in the Ahoy Tavern, along with Snake and Parrish. We answer a lot of the questions of like, oh, how do I link my account to get the correct Kickstarter role? How do I, or what
every day
this? We're answering those questions, and I'm just expecting a lot of people to be like, why didn't I get a key? Well, you didn't pay money and support them, so you didn't get an early access key. Here's the way you can do so, kind of thing.
Yep. There's going to be a lot of that going around.
Oh, I'm sure.
But for the Squadron itself, Sea Trials, I'm betting it's just more or less going to be kind of... I'm betting... Okay, my hope is we do what the organization's showing already, but I'm 98% certain we're going to be just doing, alright, a group of friends, get on and just mess around in Ahoy.
Yeah. Learn the basics, right? Because I'm sure there's a tutorial that is allegedly coming out sooner rather than later is going to help with that. But
soon trademark.
Yeah, soon TM. The big thing is going to be getting that crew together and getting some synergy, right? Learning the role.
And there's also the issue that when Sea Trial releases, I think it's only going to be like 3 ships available to you. It's not going to be the whole wide variety, so you can't
fleet,
even
Yeah, I mean,
like you might be assigned to a like a VLOS class ship, but you can't practice on that because that's not in Sea Trials yet. So it's more or less, like I said, just gonna be like, hey, as a group of friends, just hop on because we're all available and see what Ahoy's like.
Right.
Growing pains, I can already tell off the bat, are going to be for players that haven't played games like Naval Action and they don't exactly know how sail mechanics work, and just figuring out how to move your ship forward in a controllable fashion. If it's as in depth as I think it's going to be, that might be a challenge for some people. I know that it did take me a while to figure that out when I played Naval Action. Synergy is going to be big. Learning to not talk over other people, or maybe even having a push to talk mandatory VC for when you sortie. That's going to be the big ticket item right there. You know, learning to... Everybody wants to be their leader. Everybody wants to be the main character of their story. But learning how to fit rank and file in with the other people on the ship to get the job done, that's going to be difficult for a lot of people. Even myself in some scenarios. You know, the captain looking at the bigger picture saying, we need to do this. You're below deck not knowing what's going on, but you're trying to, you know, be the guy. That's going to be something that has to get sorted out in due time. You know, with success comes, how did this happen? Why did this happen? Well, this happened because everybody was a cog in the machine. And then hopefully it smooths itself out from there.
And with the part of like knowing how to sail, I do think we should probably start looking at something like a basic seamanship course for this age, because it's completely different from modern day with like you're limited by the wind compared to nowadays. You're just like, okay, just turn the engine on.
The engine's already on because the wind's blowing.
Until it stops.
Yeah. Oh.
Then you got some issues.
It's a whole nother set of problems right there. But yeah, no, I am looking forward to hopefully having like to use a sextant and whatnot. You know, look at the sky.
That's gonna be great.
Figure out the directions where you are on the map, all that good stuff. And sailing comes after that, because if you don't know where you're going, why go? I guess unless you're
As someone who's taken, at the Maritime College, I went to Massachusetts Maritime Academy, coastal navigation, taking azimuths of 2 points to find yourself on a map. That's big. I don't think it's going to get that involved. Maybe, they can't expect everybody to be a great navigator.
They've stated they don't want to have to, sacrifice their player base to be ultra nerd.
Ultra nerds, I like that.
Added to the quotes in the chat.
Yeah, so no pressure with this Capstain's upcoming journal with the hopeful footage of sea trials.
They're stressing, I can tell, because look back a month ago, Justin and Tyler were in chat every single day for at least an hour to 2 hours just talking to people. I have seen less of the developers talking than I ever have. I feel like they feel it, and they're stressed out beyond belief to make sure that their vision is properly portrayed to the group.
I bet they also feel bad for delaying as much as they have, because they promised sea trials back in, March was the last estimate?
Yeah.
And they pushed it back to...
Q1.
Yeah. They pushed it back now to July, so...
I mean, I'd be happy if it was delayed. I would rather the game be delayed than come out buggy, first of all. And if the vision is rushed and they're not able to properly display what they have in their heads, they're going to lose people. They're going to lose crowdfunding. They're going to lose the momentum they had. The first initial release of footage is the biggest, because that's when you put all the cards on the table and say, this is what we want to do, join us on this journey, so to speak.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, my take, I think that first, wanting to release something, the sea trials back you said Q1, was based off not having the crowdfunding impact they had. And now that they had a large impact, they have to kind of iron some things out to make it look better. So, I don't mind the delay. I'm here all year. So.
And Tyler's been very open with, we want to be as transparent as possible, despite people disliking them for trying to be well, we're not going to rush a project out for you guys. We want it to be as best as we can, a proper functioning game. I don't know where I was going with this.
I mean, you're right. Yeah.
I feel bad for the weight he has on his shoulders, That man has said he's losing sleep because of this.
Someone offered his
Get him a Pepsi.
Yeah. He'll be good to go.
I think Justin's on that already.
Well, either way, I mean, we're all, happy to be here and happy to see the progress the team's making, and even the bit of engagement they do give us nowadays. It's hey, let's make it happen. Let's do it.
And a bit of that is also trickling down to us, because we're now trying to just keep engagement within USCS, because they might not always have time for us, so we're going to just create time for ourselves here, which is another reason why we made this group.
Yeah. I mean, we have bi-weekly events for in-game. We have movie nights and stuff, and it only expand once the game comes out. So,
I think to add on that, our Discord is open to the public. You do not need to be part of our group to be in our Discord. We have a bunch of ambassadors from other nations, other American groups. If you just want to say, hey, I like the USCS guys, they're nice people, I'm going to join their Discord, and I'm going to hang out with them in their VCs and talk to them in their channels. Come on down. We like community. And if you want to be part of our community, we like that even more. We try to help out anybody we can in the Ahoy servers. If you want to join us in our group capacity or in a public capacity, our door is always open.
You just reminded me to post a question of the day. Thank you.
You're welcome. Get on that.
I guess that can lead us into a little talk about this diplomacy, right? Because we do have active diplomacy going on within the 5 nations right now as we speak. Even though the game, again, is not out. But does anybody want to talk about that? Or
do we want to talk about the headache that it is, or do we want to talk about how if it is?
I'm seeing a trend, Wolf. I'm seeing a trend here. I think you need just
some like Motrin or something. Elite.
Yeah. I need like a lot of alcohol for all of this.
That too.
I could go on it, Wolf, if you.
I can talk about the bad parts. You can talk about the good parts.
All right. Well, the good parts.
What was the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tug of war back and forth. Our biggest issue with diplomacy is obviously the game's not out yet. Open world is a distant thought. It's not confirmed. This is all hinging on how well the game does, how much traction it gets. And so you might ask, why should you do diplomacy? Well, my first answer to you would be to continue the hype. Yes, open world is just a fantasy dream currently. The reason why I personally like to add into diplomacy is I like to talk to people. I like to understand what other people's groups are about. Yes, you might be part of the British or the French or the Spanish. Yes, historically they might not have all gotten along at that time period. Who says we have to continue with what history wrote? We could be our own thing, do our own. We could start being allied with the British. Who knows? Talk to people, learn what they're about, learn what their goals are, tell them what our goals are, what we want to do, and build friendships. You know, that's my personal goal with diplomacy, is to just kind of tie the community together. Because at the end of the day, when the journals are feeling dull and you're feeling disappointed the game's not out yet right now as you're playing it, you know, you need to fall back on something. Fall back on the server, fall back on other servers you're in for Ahoy, fall back on friends waiting for the game. It's just a way to keep the hype going. You know, the what ifs, the whens. That's what I see in diplomacy.
I also see that even if there's no open world, there is also the option of like scheduling like tournaments or just clan versus clan battles in arena, even through diplomacy.
Yeah, arena, definitely.
Or even in other games, you know, our Holdfast nights. It'd be pretty cool if we had a British squadron against an American squadron. That'd be pretty sick. We have a Holdfast server. If any other diplomats are listening, please get in touch with us.
Yeah, we should really start working on more like cross clan involvement. Just because at this point, a lot of people have been like dying down. Like not only the developers have been quieting just because of the work they're working on.
Yeah.
But also the other communities are also just like, well, it just keeps getting delayed. Got nothing else to do. Might as well just
back burner. Yeah.
Diplomacy. It's been pretty interesting to just see like other people are just also extremely hyped for the game, like Snake said. But it's also been like almost kind of like a historical ride-along where you can see how different people want to do certain things for their certain country, but they want to add their own twist to it. Kind of like how you can see in like Hearts of Iron 4, you can do multiple paths of a country. It's kind of like what people wanted to do, but we're just sitting here waiting for the game, so you're just kind of like, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's something I think is really interesting as far as diplomacy goes. Is obviously we have the 5 nations, right? But every nation has an unlimited amount of squadrons that want their own thing. So maybe we're friendly with a blue squadron, but red is, you know, they're not on our good side. But you never know what you're going to get. So...
And there's a little bit of like a little rivalry going on with some squadrons, and sometimes they're friendly, sometimes they're kind of hostile. It's not a fun time,
yeah.
But it's just building more community just outside of individual clans.
It's true. Speaking of events, we do have a Holdfast event coming up, and I know was it one of our French diplomats is trying to maybe organize something. But
yes, I believe so.
Like you guys just said, if any diplomat is wanting to do something like that, just let us know. Join the Discord. Do you guys have anything else, maybe?
I mean, that's all I have, you know.
Yeah. Wolf?
Any topics we missed?
We probably should touch on what entirely is Ahoy.
Ahoy?
I mean... If you're clicking on a USCS video, you should hopefully... We'll do it anyway. Oh, Parrish. Do you wanna summarize what Ahoy is?
Ahoy. Okay. So Ahoy is going to be one of a kind, first Age of Sail simulation style game, based in the 1700s. What was it? It's like after the American Revolution, right? Or before it?
It's 1780 in the middle of it.
1780s.
Yeah, 1780s. So, I mean, yeah, kind of like naval action, but way more in depth on the actual ship. So, that's a very loose explanation of what Hawaii's going to be, from me at least.
Looking at naval action and Sea of Thieves had a child.
Yeah.
Or Windrose for the game that just came out.
Oh yeah, I should look more into that.
This is true. I should too.
But a simulator, nonetheless, because you're going to be...
Yes.
You're going to be really simming it up. So...
Much more historical than previous games that have come out.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like they're specific, like it's going to be a historical game that you learn about history. It's more just like historical is their aim, but they can change it for gameplay purposes.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. They've already said that in specific cases. The unsavory topics of slavery and the slave trade during that time period. The developers have already said they're 100% have it in there, but it's never going to be a main topic. It's nothing you're going to ever be able to participate in. But they said they would feel it'd be disrespectful for them to shy away from the serious issues that happened during that time period, which I love. I personally love the fact that the developers say, hey, look, I know this is a very touchy subject. Some people, that wound cuts deep. We're going to honor it and respect it for what it was, and we're going to include it, which I feel like it gives light to an issue, but it doesn't glorify the issue.
Yes, it doesn't.
Yeah.
And there's been community people just coming into the server asking questions like things like, oh, is there going to be this issue in the game? And developers are always willing to just talk to you about what their idea is. And there'll also be other people like myself, Snake, and Parrish willing to answer questions if we see it before the devs do, since we do like to take a little bit off their plate. But they're always open to just be like, this is what we aim for. Now it's subject to change, but at least you're getting a developer who's actively working on the game, willing to be just like, yeah, this is the plan.
My biggest suggestion for anybody looking at getting Ahoy, go to their website. As of right now, their domain may change. They're making a new website. But their current website is ahoy.gg. They have an extensive FAQ page, frequently asked questions, where they talk about a multitude of different ideas, what the game's going to look like. They have a bunch of pictures showing interior, not screenshots. What's the word I'm looking for? Mock-ups, I guess.
Renders?
Of renders is what I was looking for. Of what interiors will kind of look like. If you want all the information, you have all the questions, check out the FAQ page first. It is such a treasure trove of information, and it is so overlooked.
And if you are looking at getting into the game, there are options to support them as well, which will come with rewards for supporting them at certain tiers. With their new website, that's going to be made a little bit easier, but right now their Kickstarter is up, though I believe it's just you get keys through their individual launcher and not through Steam. I think that's the only difference.
Yeah, Steam has some pretty funky requirements.
Yeah.
It's Steam. We still love it, though.
Yes, we do.
But nonetheless, be on the lookout for the new website, the new journal.
It should be dropping in a week on Friday.
The FAQ, please read it.
Currently, the plan is for them to drop the new journal with gameplay and the new website in a week from Friday.
May 1st, baby.
Yes, I had the stuff saved in my phone calendar.
So,
Is there anything else we have on this topic?
no,
Or at all?
I think we'll just bring it in, right? We'll have more episodes in the future, hopefully. More topics to discuss. More people to bring in.
Yes. I am looking forward to bringing some people from the actual group into the, to come up here and talk just about either experiences with USCS or what they interpret Ahoy to be, or
We will force
even if it's just like a history talk.
Yeah. Forcing.
Yeah,
I
no,
will
that's
drag
awesome.
you
All right, everybody.
All right.
Well, this has been the Wardroom. Okay, we talked about why we're building our organization, before the game exists, what it means for us going forward. If you're looking for structure, direction, and a place to coordinate, USCS is the place to be. Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you.